What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Dustin here, back with another video. We're doing another drive vlog style video here today. Just getting some things done. Today in this video, I wanted to talk to you all about something that has been quite the transition for me in my life right now. Something that's very important, and it woke me up to something that we all need to learn from, to realize, and ultimately it's a lesson. It's a lesson to this whole process, all these steps we put together to become a greater person. That goes for you and I, both, all of us. We really want to strive to do things that bring us to better places in life, whether it's physically, mentally, all that stuff, emotionally, spiritually. But what I really wanted to dive into today is your perspective. Today's video is all about perspective, and I'm going to voice this out to you all because it's a choice. You have the option to view things this way. They are this way, whether you want to accept it or not. It's just our viewpoint gets so twisted. The fact and the reality is, guys, I'll give you an example. So let's say you're in school, right? Let's say you're in college and you're doing all these art projects, and you want every single art project to be 10 out of 10. You want to get the best. You want to get literally a perfect grade on every single art project. Well, or let's say it's a work project, something you're working on with your team. You want it to be 100%. If it's being graded, you want it to be 100%. Or if you're taking a test, you want every test to be perfect, if possible, right? Especially if you've got a perfect one in the past, you've scored perfectly on something. That's just the mentality, right? But the fact and the reality is, you need to look at it from a different perspective. Okay? Because as you get further on in life, you're going to realize that you're not going to score 100%. You're not going to get the best grade possible at everything in your life. When life is grading you, when life is the teacher, when life is putting forth these learning lessons for us, we need to have the utmost positive perspective. Okay? And scoring 100% is a positive perspective, but it's not the one you need to take on every single time. Now, what do I mean? Well, what I got to thinking about was, you kind of have to have this it is what it is perspective without being like super overly lazy. You almost have to not care, but really care at the same time. Like, you give it your all. Definitely give things in life your all, but don't like kill yourself over these things in life, because they're just things at the end of the day. They're not like you. They're not like me. They don't have a spirit. They don't have a soul. They're not human. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to hurt the feelings of the thing, and I get it twisted. I'm laughing at myself internally right now because I just get it so twisted, and I mess up at this. But the ultimate goal is, if you're working on a project, if you're working on something that you want to do incredible at, that's not a bad thing. It's just, you have to accept it for what it is sometimes and go with the flow. Trust the process. I was watching a video the other day. Shout out Soul Immortal. That man is my brother, guys. He said something that really spoke to me. And I'm trying to remember how he said it, but he basically said, let your pain do the work. Let your pain do the work for you. You know, let your pain uncover the shadowed areas. Let the pain lead. You know, let it do the work in your life. Well, I'm telling you guys right now, let leaving what is and not fighting the process, let that do what it's doing. That's life. That's the process. That's life leading on life's terms. And that's just the way it is, guys. So we can't avoid life and what it's going to throw at us. There's going to be all kinds of bumps in the road for us. But how we can react is the way we see things, the way we react to things. So if you're constantly in unfair situations, you can honestly go into those situations, even if every single time you know you're going to have not the upper hand, but you're going to be at the bottom. You know, it's not going to be a fair situation for you all the time. And you accept that, you know that, right? Keep that in your head. You're like, okay, I've been in this situation time after time after time. I know how this person's going to respond. I know what they're doing. They're tricking me. Life is throwing me another curveball. You know, life is testing me right now. That alone, you, in that moment, that very moment, that moment alone, you can decide how you're going to react and respond to it. And it's a chance to learn. It's a learning lesson for you, for me, for everybody. So how are you going to respond? Okay. Yeah. You know, if I was an all-star soccer player, maybe I had a few trophies in the past. You know, whatever his name is, Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, let's say I got the medals, right, in the past, but now I'm not playing soccer so great, but I'm still winning games, you know, and I'm him, right? Maybe my family members, maybe my wife, my kids, if, you know, they're old enough to see this perspective, you know, they're mature enough, will come to me and say, but Dad, but Ronaldo, you know, you still won games. You're still winning games out there. At least you have that. That's the perspective I'm talking about. It's the perspective that I have missed the whole time, because I'm trying to perfect the process, right? I want the world to see me, and we do this a lot. And it's messed up, because you want the world to see you in your perfect state all the time. You want the world to see you on paper, you know, doing well, not having struggles. But to be honest, what you never see, and I was talking to a friend about this the other day, the things that you never see are, you know, when these Hollywood stars, you know how they pull the plug on Hollywood? Well, the thing about pulling the plug on Hollywood, the whole point about that is, yeah, Hollywood stars do struggle. They are not perfect, okay? So by the time the plug was pulled on that, we had all come to realize, wait a second, they're all exactly like we are. They're human. They mess up all the time. The media just doesn't want us to see that. You know, it doesn't want the world to see that. We are the media at times. We act like the media at times. We don't want to see. We want to be the photographer that shoots the photos for the magazine, you know, but only accepts the good and doesn't photograph the bad. So you have to look at the glass half full. We talk about that mentality a lot. You really do, guys. And, you know, it's a long shot. I get it, especially when things are going like crap. You know, you don't want to focus on the positive when you're at a really dark place in your life. And it's hard when you have depression. You're not going to be able to see this perspective all the time, but you need to train your mind to think of this perspective. You know, I was talking about it with my lady yesterday. Another topic, another aspect. We talked about like how society puts this like this specific formula on retirement. Like, you got to retire at a specific age. You got to have specific amount of money in your retirement accounts by a specific age. You got to be pulling in a certain amount of money year per year. You have to invest this much into that retirement. You can only, after you retire, you can only use so much of that money per month, you know, and then you're on a set income and set this and set that. And then a lot of people end up going back to work because they can't afford it. And I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking about it, and we worry about that. That's something we could honestly just worry over all the time. Or you could have a different perspective about it and say, hey, look, you know, things aren't perfect right now, but at least I can do what I can, you know, and live, you know, make it work somehow. Find ways around the system, the process. You know, don't overwork yourself, but work enough where, you know, you got a little money. You're getting a little bread coming in, you know. And that's it, guys. I mean, we stress about these things. So, all right, guys. So try to have that perspective. Try to have the it is what it is perspective. Well, I didn't get a perfect grade every time, but hey, at least I'm a great artist. At least I can look at my life and say that I played the game. I did what I could, you know, and I put myself out there, and I'm choosing. Remember, it's a choice. You're choosing to have a positive perspective no matter what happens. And that's where you get the power. That's where you get the upper hand. Protect your friends, protect your family, protect yourself. Mentally, physically. Stay safe out there, guys, and I will see you all in the next video. All right? Take care. Bye.